Welcome back to Jurgen's decentralized summer diaries. Last time we just took you on a path through the world of social media and some of the negative aspects of that. And I was telling you that what will happen in the future is already right now moving in the basement of social media in general in the world. And today you will get an answer a little bit on what and who that exactly might be. But before we do that, I need to take you a little bit on a trip and throughout history, and also a trip in some kind of terminology. For those who are old enough and were born definitely before the days of social media, so definitely 25 and 30 years of age or older. So we actually end up in the 90s, the moment where we actually didn't have any Wi-Fi, and you still would go on the internet via a telephone line and via a modem with this very annoying noise. And once you were actually on there in that period, it's the nascent days of internet, then you could come up and you would go onto a website, and the only thing you could do is browse through a website. You could read something, and that is what is called the age of Web 1. You're actually reading. When you're on the internet, you are reading things. And that is Web 1. Now, after the dot-com bubble in 2000, and with the coming and then the origin of the social media platforms in the area of 2004, 2005, 2006, that is where the world of Web 2 started to emerge. Meaning we could do more on the internet. People started writing blogs in that time. So you could not only read, you could suddenly also start write. And that's exactly what Web 2 world is about. Meaning you can not only read on the internet, but you can also as a person write on the internet. And writing can be many different things. It could be, in the beginning, it was a blog, so it was mainly text that people were putting on there. Then they started building their own websites. With social media, we started with comments. Then we came with photos. In the meantime, we can do all kinds of videos on there as well. We can see people having vlogs. So social media made the Web 2 world, where you can read and write, really, really popular. And it's also the beginning, basically, of the influencer or the creator economy. In a Web 1 world, where you can only read, creating is not really getting off. It's impossible. So creator economy was not possible then. That's why it comes with this Web 2 world in the read and write. Now, like we said last time, in the area, social media are bound to the Web 2 world as they are right now. And they have some negative aspects. Like I said then, you don't own your own social graph. You don't own what you share. If you switch platforms, you start from scratch. Censorship is something that is done centrally. Your data, they are sold, and somebody else is making the biggest profit or money of it. As an influencer or a creator, it is the quantity that brings you somewhere, often not the quality. And we are all dominated by the algorithm. It dominates our feed, what we see, what we look at. So we are all dominated by the algorithm. Now, what is stirring and moving in the depths of the present social media as we know it? Well, most of the negative aspects that I mentioned before in the last episode, and also a little bit in this one, is to the fact that it is linked to one issue, and that is the centralization aspect. A lot of times it's one entity, one company controlling all of the different aspects that we discussed before, like your social graph, like your posts, like your data, what will happen with it. These are based on this one centralization aspect. Now, what is the countercurrent? What is moving then in the darkness, in the basement, or in the depth? Well, that is the world of decentralization, or in this case, decentralized social media. Now, how can we frame decentralized social media? Basically, it's a social networking platform where both control and management of the data and operations are distributed across multiple servers or nodes instead of being centralized under one single company, authority or entity. In decentralized social media, as a user, you also have more control over your personal data and your content. And in the best case, even the different platforms operate with protocols that allow interoperability, peer-to-peer interaction, community governance, and so on. And of course, we should never forget, basically also decentralization has a focus or should enhance privacy, reduce censorship, and foster more and more open and resilient networks. That is basically what we're after when we talk about decentralized social media. And decentralized social media then also brings us to what is the world of Web3. And we add one word in the world of Web3. We already had read in Web 1. With social media and Web 2, we added write. And now we can actually go in the world of Web 3, and there we are also able to own certain things. We own our social graph, we own our work, we own our posts, and we can make also some money on our own terms with that as well. And that is the world of Web 3. Now we talk about decentralized social media. We introduced what Web 3 is, and that we now can also own our data beside read and write. Now, how can we tackle this decentralization? How do we get from the point where we are right now, centralized social media, into and Web 2, into a decentralized Web 3 world? What you see right now is that there are two basic movements going on. One uses decentralized protocols, the other one uses basically the blockchain. But now let's take a deeper look at both of them, and let's first start with the decentralized protocols. Again, what is a decentralized protocol for social media? Basically, these are systems where both data and operations are, again, like in the overall definition, distributed across multiple servers or nodes, rather than being controlled by a single entity. And the protocols allow different servers to communicate and share information, enable users to control their data, and interact with others across a federated network. What are some key features in this case? Well, you have the peer-to-peer connection, meaning data is stored on multiple independent servers. User control, you have control of your data and how and why it is shared. And you have the interoperability, meaning different servers can work together and allowing for a more diverse ecosystem. An example of this is, for instance, Blue Sky. And Blue Sky deploys the AT protocol, as it is called. But like I said, there are many different types of protocols. There's not just one single protocol. Each different application or each different approach to reach this decentralized social media via protocols has often his own protocol, or has a set of protocols dependent often in what they want to realize. Do they want to be, let's say, the new Twitter of Web3 based on protocols? Then they can have a certain protocol or set of protocols that they use. Do they want to be the Facebook or something else? Then you can see that they often also have their own set of protocols, or often start developing protocols from the beginning onward. That's for what are the decentralized protocols. Second thing, like I said, we have blockchain-based social media. What is a blockchain for those people who don't know it? Basically, you can compare it to a ledger or a database, where again all data is stored, but in this case not on a central server, but also in this case on a network of computers or nodes, making it decentralized. And it even deploys cryptographic technology, meaning there's also a high level of privacy, transparency, and safety built into a blockchain. Now, what is the definition of a decentralized blockchain approach for social media? Again, it is blockchain technology that is used to store and manage the data in, like I just said, distributed immutable ledgers. But each action that you do, whether it's posting something, whether it's liking something, it is recorded on the blockchain, ensuring transparency and security through those cryptographic consensus mechanisms that are typically deployed inside a blockchain. And that is a big difference to the first wave, where we talked about the protocols. There you don't have these consensus mechanisms. They are typical for blockchains. What are then some key features that you find here? Well, it's an immutable ledger, meaning all data, all interactions, they are permanently recorded on the blockchain. It is transparent and very secure, and the blockchain ensures that the data is secure and transparent with both its consensus mechanism and its cryptography. And decentralization, in most blockchains, it is the case that it's open or public blockchains, meaning no single entity controls the data. It is distributed across this network of nodes. An example here is the social media platform Steemit, which is built on the Steem blockchain and acts in a similar way with posts and interactions. Another example is the DeSo blockchain with its application like Diamond, which looks like a lot like Twitter, or the application Story that is an alternative to Instagram. But like I said, also in this case, you have many more different blockchains or social media based blockchains. Now, if you look at, okay, who's going to win this race, we are still rather early in the development. We see a lot of different approaches, both within one wave, like inside the decentralized protocols or the decentralized social media on blockchain. And a winner is not there, but you can see that both approaches have a certain advantages and a way of certain disadvantages. Now, let's compare them. Basically, if you look at data storage, there the protocols and the data is distributed across multiple servers. The same thing you have with the blockchain, but it's also done there in a immutable way, where you're in a protocol, it is still possible to delete certain things. This is not so easy or not possible when you look at the blockchain. If you look at control and governance, then you still see that protocols-based approaches are still governed by operator or individual servers. Even if it is a peer-to-peer network, it is still a group of people or a group or a set or a foundation that controls those servers. Where typically blockchains are more open. They are also run by consensus mechanisms and smart contracts, making it a lot more decentralized in comparison to the protocols. The immutability, like I said, in protocols, data can be modified or deleted according to the server policies or the protocol policies. With a blockchain, this is not so easy or almost impossible for most of the blockchains. If you look at speed and efficiency, protocols are generally faster and more efficient because they don't need to go through this consensus mechanism every time when they add a transaction or when they add content. That makes a blockchain often slower and more resource intensive due to the need for this consensus and sometimes also for the cost. And if you look at a blockchain versus a protocol, in a lot of times to store videos and high resolution photos on a blockchain, that takes a lot of storage capacity. It's just not possible on all the blockchains, and it therefore also is often linked to rather high gas fees, which is also a difference to the protocols. So you now know what is moving in those dark corners in the basement. You will see that from a centralized approach of social media, we will slowly move into a decentralized approach of social media with, at this moment, two major approaches. One is decentralized protocol based and one is decentralized blockchain based. Now, in the next episode, we will dedicate more of the time to the blockchain based decentralized social media. We will give some additional examples, talk also a little bit about how they can alter and what are the benefits working this way with social media. And I will dedicate a little bit more time, or way more time, to one very specific blockchain, namely the DeSo blockchain. And we will also take a look at the ecosystem that has developed on this DeSo blockchain over the last year, but even more important, the philosophy behind it, because it can be copied, of course, but it is the basic philosophy when you look at the DeSo blockchain that makes it really interesting when you focus on decentralized social media. But that is something that we will dive into next time, when I hope to hear you and listen to you and talk with you in the 3rd episode of Jurgen's Decentralized Summer Diaries. Talk to you then. Have a nice summer. Bye bye.